Tutu Totara owners David and Sarah Marshall are running their dairy farm under Horizon Regional Council's One Plan. Richard Ash is equity manager at Tutu Totara Dairy, running around 1,400 cows. He was awarded the Manawatu Share Milker Equity Farmer of the Year award in 2015.
Environmental issues are becoming more and more prominent, and now we're probably starting to think about environmental implications before we do something. Historically, you'd probably just, if something was a good idea, we'd just charge on and do it, whereas now one of the considerations is what environmental impacts it will have, especially nitrogen leaching and things like that. Our stocking rate's reasonably low, and we do have large areas of bush, which helps to spread our nitrogen leaching over the farm. Having the spring and autumn calving does help a little bit as well, helps to spread the load throughout the year. This is our effluent storage pond here, so all the effluent from both sheds and the feed pad comes into here, so it's nice to have it all in the one location. So we've got a weeping wall set up here, so there's the two holding ponds that we alternate, so we fill one pond for a month or two, and then that one's full, we can flick over and use the other pond, and it just gives one pond some time to dry out, the solids to dry out a bit more, and then we spread it with a muck spreader. So it's roughly 10 or 11 million litres, which gives us about 3.5 months storage, depending on the time of the year. And then it's pumped from here out through our two pivots. It's all clay lined, and I think our consent is 90 days storage, so we've got additional storage, and in terms of the area, I think we need to have around 90 hectares, and we've got 135, so we've got a bit of extra scope. Because we're spreading it over a reasonable area already, it's a good chunk of the farm that gets little or no fertiliser now, and the solids, we're able to take that to the cropped areas of the farm, so when we're working paddocks up and things like that, we can take a reasonable amount of solid there. We do a nutrient analysis of it as well, so we know roughly speaking what, how much nutrient we're putting on those areas, so yeah, it's quite a saving in terms of nutrients. This river terrace area is almost like a runoff. We bring milking cows down at times of the year when we need it, but really useful for silage. We do have an irrigator down here, so we can grow good grass through the winter. It's almost a little bit of a microclimate. It's usually a couple of degrees warmer down here, and yeah, useful for replacement stock and wintering cows and things like that. So this is a paddock of sugar beet that was planted about 6 weeks ago. So this is getting, to the far ends, it reaches the farm. I think it's a bit over 2.5 k's from here to the shed. These further away areas we are using as support, and so these beets will be harvested and stored at the shed. This is the first time we've grown it on farm specifically for harvesting. So these were harvested in July and August. And yeah, we're just feeding them out now, straight in the paddock to the cows. The main driving reason behind it is just really focusing on trying to get our farm working expenses down, and we can grow these for about 10 cents per kilo compared to grain at 40 or 50 cents a kilo. High energy, growing on farm, so we've got better control of costs. One problem we have had is acidosis, so you just need to be very careful in that early stage transitioning the cows onto them. But once they do get used to them, they seem to be working really well.
We've had lots of rain,
I think One Plan was always about water quality, and we've always kept that at the front of our mind, that what we're doing here is about water quality. When we first evaluated expanding the dairy business, we actually went through a process with Horizons to evaluate the impact on our nutrient loss. Having been through that process, we were a lot less scared about what the outcome of that was. And so yeah, we had a lot of confidence that we wouldn't be constrained as a business if we expanded our dairy business. We set out to have a relatively low stocking rate. That wasn't really as a result of One Plan. We set an objective, we still have that objective today, over $4 cost structure or sub $4 cost structure. So that remains in place today. That initial planning was done around, I guess, a resilient dairy system and just a view that commodities would go up and down, and I think we learned that after GFC. So yeah, it just happened that having set that objective for our business, the next question was that view compromised by constraints on environment? And I think the answer to that, by and large, is no. but that's not to say it's without its challenges. We still have to think a lot, plan a lot, look at different options. We're still very reliant looking forward on technology, and we believe that that's crucial if we're going to achieve those medium-term objectives and long-term objectives without compromising profitability and without the fact that, as businesses, we do all have to grow over time. We're very reliant on the people that advise us, and we use Lockie Grant and Susie Lacreen at Land Vision, and also had input for a person that challenged us in Greg Carline. So we've used those people. It's a big job. It took us a lot of energy working with Richard closely on it. We worked through, dozens and dozens of scenarios. The good thing about that is I think you learn more about your own land resource. You learn about wastage, about opportunities. Our current nitrogen leaching is around 25 units of N, and the 20-year objective is 21. So we've got to take some mitigating approaches to get to that 21, but I'm also hopeful that technology is going to fill part of that hole. There's tools being talked about. We hope that our research capability in New Zealand is working through those because, again, they're profitable for our farming system, but they're also positive for the environment.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.